There you go.
Go ahead. When you call it. Those are walking in.
All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Y'all please stand for the prayer and pledge of allegiance. And Chief Arrington, I'm going to ask that you say the prayer for us, please.
Good evening, everybody. Would you bow your head in prayer with me, please? Heavenly Father, I'd like to thank you for the gathering of the Board of Aldermen. We pray that for everyone here, we pray for those that are watching us online. Father, we thank you for all of the many projects going along with the city. We pray and thank you for this board, these aldermen, and the work that they do. We ask that all hearts and minds work together for the betterment of the city. These things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And could we have the roll call by the city clerk?
Yes, Alderwoman Hall,
Here.
Alderman Frazier. Alderman Frazier.
I'm here.
Okay. Alderwoman Smith / Mayor Pro Tem.
Here.
Alderwoman Irving.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Maroney.
Here.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We will then proceed to the approval of the minutes. Please, we have the minutes for October 8th on our regular meeting. I would ask for a motion for approval of those minutes.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have let's see, Curtis, and then a second with Alderman Davis. All in favor of the motion?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes.
There is something I would like to say though, if we had discussion.
Well, I apologize. I did not ask for discussion. Any
No.
discussion on the
I just wanted
motion?
to say there was some typographical errors and to look.
We did catch those.
Okay.
Everything's
Yeah,
corrected.
they were corrected on there.
Okay.
All right, very good. Thank you. We'll proceed then. Any visitors tonight? All right.
Madam Pro Tem, I would like to, before I introduce Ms. Smith, would like to say that we are grateful. 3 times we have applied for the Mississippi Home Corporation.
Oh, we're going to move to the next. Okay, I was going to call
Oh, I'm
you for the
sorry.
next thing. That's okay, for the city business. Okay, proceed.
Yes. And, you know, we have been trying to do something for our citizens who need help, those who do not qualify for the SNAP program without violating federal law. We applied for the Mississippi Home Corporation 3 times, and on the 3rd try, we did get this in the amount of $557,200. So we are pleased to have Ms. Lamette Smith here, who is the administrator of this grant through Southwest Mississippi Planning and Development.
Ms. Smith, you may come up to the podium. Thank you so
Thank you.
much
Good
for being
evening.
Thank you.
here.
Good evening.
That's right, 3 times the charm.
That's right. Woo-hoo.
$557,200. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
With this funding again is through HUD, federal funds through HUD by way of Mississippi Home Corporation. The project is to undertake homeowner rehabilitation activity. And I would just want to briefly go over some of the qualifications that the homeowners will have to have under this program. So households' income is looked at. They have to be at or below 80% of the area median income for Natchez. They have to be current or exempt on their property taxes. And I can give each alderman more information. You don't have to write it down if you want to. Owners must have owned the per unit at least 1 year prior to submitting the application. Applications will be due to Mississippi Home Corporation by December 31st. Okay, but for me, after I hold the public hearing, I would like to set a deadline so I can do all of my preliminary documents, packaging up all the applications to submit to Mississippi Home Corporation by November 25th. So homeowners also have to show evidence of home ownership by way of their property deeds. They cannot have any debts or liens against the property. It cannot be air property. It cannot be located in a flood zone. and no manufactured units are allowed. And that's because it's a rehabilitation. Mississippi Home Corporation and HUD, they do not allow rehabs on manufactured units. A rehab unit, the maximum amount for a rehab unit under this program is $60,000. So just imagine what we can do with that. Again, the city of Natchez has applied for all rehabilitation activities, so there will be no reconstructions. At the end of the program, at the end of construction, so I say, each homeowner will be signing a deed restriction for 5 years, which simply states they will not sell the property in 5 years. They cannot sell their property. So like I said earlier, the deadline to submit the applications to me would be November 25th. I will hold a public hearing if the board approves advertisement of the public hearing. It would be publicized this Friday it'll be a display ad in the main section of the paper of the Natchez Democrat. The public hearing will be held on November the 7th at 5:30 p.m. here at the council chambers. So if the board approves, tonight I will need permission to accept the reservation award for the city of Natchez, as well as permission to advertise for the second public hearing.
Okay, great. So, and you'll provide each of the aldermen the qualifications, if you
Sure.
would. Again, just send it to the mayor's office and they'll
Yes, ma'am.
distribute to us. And then it sounds like the paper, do they already have the information for the ad? They might want the
Yes.
full qualifications for
They
an
do.
article.
They have it.
Okay, and then listen up, y'all.
Uh,
If
I'd like to
y'all,
make a motion that we accept the reservation letter.
yes.
Second.
And any discussion on the motion? This is a no match,
No match,
No match.
no match.
no match.
Okay, great, I do. You said the household at 80%. What's that dollar amount for Natchez?
Area income is 31,800 per census that I looked up. $31,800 is the area median income.
Okay, and per individual, again, the
For
max
the
is-
maximum amount of rehab is 60,000.
Okay. That is my question. Oh, the other thing, could we advertise in the Bluff City Post as well?
Good point. Anybody else have any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Clear title, right? They got that
Yes,
one?
sir. Yes,
Clear
sir.
title.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? Call for the
I
question.
I think I was there when you got that money, didn't you?
No, no, not that.
Okay.
That was a different pot.
Got plenty of money then.
Call the question.
Great job.
One more thing.
We need to vote.
Let her real quick, go ahead and finish.
One more thing. The deadline for me that I would like to have all applications in will be November 25th. However, if the council chambers is available on November 22nd, which is the Friday prior to, I can be made available here to accept any applications that homeowners may want to drop off, ask questions or what have you. So
What time would you like to do that?
between I'll be here 2 to 3:30
2 to 3:30.
on November 22nd.
Just
For
plan
those
on it.
homeowners that would like to
Plan on
submit.
that.
So at the public hearing, I will be issuing out applications,
I have a question.
but they also can call and
We'll call
I
the
can
question.
send out.
Just one other question, and my question was, is that the week of Thanksgiving?
The 25th is.
Okay, that's what I was
Mhm.
concerned about. You
That's
know,
why,
those
that's
deadline
why
dates, people
I
out of
chose
town that are
22nd,
traveling.
the Friday before,
Okay,
if they want to. But
Okay.
they are allowed to drop off or mail applications to the office. And that information will be given at the public hearing as well. Or they
Thank
can
you.
call the office and get my information.
okay, thank
So
you.
Any other discussion? Now we'll ask for a call for the question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone?
you.
Doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. Third
Any
time's
other
a charm.
discussion?
We wasn't gonna give up.
No, we're not.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
and we appreciate you. And I know Alderwoman Hall worked hard on this as well. We appreciate so much. This is very, very exciting. Thank you so much. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right.
Madam Pro Tem, I'd like to also make a motion that we accept the public hearing date for November 7th at
Second.
5:30
Mm.
in council chambers.
All right, we have the motion
Second.
to accept for the public hearing. Everybody calm down. really, really rushing. We're gonna get out of here quick. We don't have to jump the gun too quickly. So, you have that down, the first and the second on that?
What?
So what
Did
was
you-
the date of the
The
public
public
hearing?
hearing is November 7th.
We should
Seven.
do a motion.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm making a motion.
Yeah.
I made the motion
That's what I said. So I said you did the first and the second was Alderman
at
Davis.
5:30. Yes.
Any discussion on the motion? Anything else? Call for the question.
Call.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, great. We'll be ready for you and we'll communicate about November 22nd as well. Okay, so now county business. I know the county was going to be here on something, so we'll go ahead and move forward and come back to county business. We will start with department directors' reports. And first on the agenda, we have Ms. Williams, Workforce Development.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem.
Good evening.
And the Board of Aldermen. I only have two things this evening. One thing that's really exciting for us in workforce development is a billboard. So we found an excellent location and we would like to contract with Lamar Advertising. So I did give some information to Rhonda. There are two different contracts. One is $6,174 if we were to pay every month, or pay per month.
What is that again? I'm sorry.
A billboard.
How much was it?
$6,174 if we were to pay monthly for 6 months. And so the other invoice is for a little less, and it's a little less because there's a 5% discount if we paid it in lump sum, just pay the bill when we sign the contract. So that amount is $5,865.
And that's just for 6 months.
Just for 6 months.
Oh,
Billboards have gone up.
yeah, we've got some.
But they've gone up. But I have to reiterate because, of course, the Workforce Development Department is new and we are still branded. We're doing a great job with branding. Wouldn't you guys agree? That we need the billboard to continue to advertise the website and to, of course, advertise their job opportunities in the Miss Lou area. And of course, when we think about our Move Back Home campaigns and things of that nature, when people are coming into town, they need to know that there's a website if you're looking for a job and or career. So that's the purpose of the billboard.
Do you have this budgeted?
I do have it budgeted.
Okay, so it will come out of yours. Yeah, any
What's
questions?
the location you said?
So the location, which there are coordinates. So if you're coming in to Natchez from 6184 from the Washington area, there's the big white church that sits to the left, right where the car lot, there's a car wash. There's a big white church, and then there was a big billboard that was heart to heart at reserved that billboard, but they have since changed their name. That billboard is coming down. And so Lakeisha and I, we were just kind of looking at what Lamar had sent us, but also having to go around town and put eyes on it. That billboard is excellent. There's nothing.
So right out in the Morgantown area around that car
Right,
wash.
right. It's right there and you cannot miss it. Even if you did not want to see a billboard, you're going to see that billboard. So I love the location.
So that's Kenny Graves Apartments.
It's right in that area.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yep.
What is the pleasure
So-
of the board on this?
So move.
I just want to ask that just a couple of years ago, and I'm not against this,
Okay.
but I just want to ask, just a couple of years ago, there was a possibility that one would be placed over near the JR Food Mart.
Let's go ahead and get a second since we
Okay,
had a
yeah,
first.
we
Anybody make a second on
We
this?
can.
Second.
And then discussion. Go
Okay,
ahead. Ms.
thank you.
Sardi.
So I just was trying to rehatch that conversation. There was opposition in having it. And so I'm just wanting to get clarity on it tonight. I'm not against it because
Okay.
it's much needed,
Mhm.
but I just wanted, what was the decision that we had? Because when we looked at it, they were talking about the billboard with flashlights, and I know this one won't. Am I correct? This one?
No. This is not a
This is-
digital billboard.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay, so maybe that may be the difference, but there had been conversation about it. Alderman Frazier, can you recall that? Because it was in, over near Pilgrim Baptist Church, and there was some opposition with that. And it may have been a digital billboard because we were saying, okay, maybe it would impact the sight of people driving because it would be flashing. So that does,
So this,
Serves me to
let me
remember.
clarify. This is a billboard already there. Those discussions
Yeah.
were on a new billboard being
Yeah,
put
this
up.
is already there.
This is her using utilizing.
I understand, but I just was asking, did that go with all billboards in reference to? No?
That has nothing to
Okay.
do with this.
Okay.
No.
All right,
No.
I'm just asking.
That's okay. No worries. This is just them getting permission to advertise on the
I understand.
billboard.
Because we got them in this
It's within their budget for
Yes.
advertising and for workforce development.
It is.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion?
Madam, Ms. Williams, so
Yes.
this is for 6 months,
It's
a
for
period of
6
6 months,
Mhm.
and at the end of this 6 months, you're gonna come back to the board for another billboard? Or
Well, what I
is there
would
gonna
like
be
to do-
funding for that?
I hope there will be. So that's my next item on the agenda, to apply for new funding so that we can continue to replenish our funding so that we can extend for another 6 months. That's what we would hope to do. We feel like a year would be good to advertise in that way for workforce branding. But we know we're budgeted for 6 months right now. I don't want to deplete the
Mhm.
budget, for that. But
Because
we're
this-
gonna be doing digital marketing and some other things. Right.
Alderman Frazier, you had a comment?
Yes, she was just talking about the bill, but the reason why we didn't get on our side is because it was neon, so the board voted for, we
Okay.
decided not to have neon flashing signs within the city limit. So
Okay.
that's why, if you wanted to put a neon flashing sign, I don't know, that's outside the city.
No, and we won't.
Okay.
Right, what, Madam,
Alderwoman Hall?
I know this is the existing billboard, but
Right.
have you had a chance to talk to Ms. Legault?
Yes, I did, and they let us know that there are no particular policies surrounding that billboard.
That's in the
That's
county.
in the county. That's in
Yes,
the county.
and it's in the
I
county,
just wanted to be sure when we are doing legal.
right?
Okay.
But I needed to ask, and I
Correct.
did.
You can put a flashing billboard out there, don't make any difference.
Okay, well, we won't.
Well, I do like that it's 6 months, because that way you can find out if you really get any feedback from it. That gives you
Right.
some time to see if it's the right place. Who recommended? Did y'all just in discussion with your board or?
Lamar, we've been working with Vidal, Blankenstein, and right now I think it's like 68,000 persons that's
Going past.
estimated to view it per month. So we like that. That's a really high number.
All right, Alderman
My
Maroney.
question is, have we determined, in discussing with Vidal from a marketing standpoint, is this the best type of advertising to do? Because I know probably all of those people, the workforce development is probably primarily targeting young people. Primarily.
It's a nice-
Not
yeah.
completely.
Right.
Not completely, but
Right.
primarily targeting young people.
You're right.
But there are very few people out there now that are not online and on some sort of social media. And I just
Right.
wonder how the cost of a billboard
Mm-hmm.
compares to the cost of social media advertising that gets so many people, so many times, every day. Of
Right.
course, the good thing about a billboard is it never goes away. It's there all the time, and they
Right.
see it every time you drive by, and they can't click it away. It's there.
It's
So I
good.
was just wondering if there was any analysis done of, is
We have.
this efficient use of our advertising dollars there?
We've talked about social media at length, but of course, that's been our main type of advertisement up to this point, which has worked well. But we're launching a workforce campaign, so we're using all different types of media. We're using print media, we're using the billboard, we're using digital media, radio. So we're using everything that's available to us so that we can effectively brand Natchez Workforce. So we have discussed that.
That's good. So increasing the workforce participation is the
Yeah.
goal
Yeah,
here.
increasing
So
our
this will
workforce
reach a whole different
participation.
audience
Yes.
than just that. So any other
Madam
discussion?
Ma'am,
Yes.
we didn't specify, are you asking us for the 6,174, the lowest and best, or the $5,865?
The $5,865 to be paid at once so that we can take
Save money.
advantage of that
Okay, we just need to
discount.
specify that for our minutes.
Okay,
So
And
move
for the
5,000.
motion.
Yeah, we've got the motion amended to say the lower of the two options, paying all at once. is gonna win. Okay, all right, then we will call for the question.
Called.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, thank you. Next.
and then the next item I have is to ask for permission to attend the Delta Workforce, this is with DRA, Delta Regional Authority, pre-award technical assistance workshop. At the last board meeting, I talked about a grant that we are applying for. Again, it's $50,000 to $300,000. And I would have to travel actually on tomorrow. The workshop is from 8 to 4 on Thursday, which is October the 24th. So I'm asking for permission to be able to travel there.
So moved.
So move.
All right, I think Alderwoman Hall first, and then the
A
second
second.
was Alderwoman, right, excuse me, Irving, thank you.
Wow.
Sorry. Sorry. It's okay. So any discussion? Nope. All right, call for the question.
Oh,
All in favor of the motion?
aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. And last on your agenda, you had one
That's
more
it.
thing. Go ahead.
I have nothing else. Thank
Safe
you.
travels.
I have nothing else.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to refer back to county business. I see our county attorney, Scott Slaver, walk in.
Quietly.
There he is. All right, thank you for being here tonight, Attorney Slover, and let us know what county business you're here to
I
talk about.
apologize for being late. I had a
We're zipping along, so.
wife out of town or cross country, so I had to go pick up Rose sitting in the car. This actually has to do with your next item on your agenda with the swimming pool.
Okay.
The board met yesterday about it, and obviously they want the repairs to be done and so forth. And they asked whether they needed board approval for such repairs and such. No, what we needed to do is make sure that both parties had approved a budget for the pool, which I confirmed with Megan today that y'all did set a budget with your recently approved budget. And so as long as we can correlate something to a line item, just like anything else, and I talked to Ryan maybe last week about it to try to clear up some confusion about it too. The proper method of purchasing something with the county is a department head. They're supposed to keep up with their line items and pick out a line item. They contact purchasing. Purchasing is required by county law to make all purchases. And so the proper thing to do is say, hey, we need to get this, pull it from this line item. If they're not sure what their line item to pull from, then purchasing actually can go through it and do it. Sometimes purchasing questions come up with what's legal or not legal or whatever. Your purchasing department for the counties all have to be trained. They all have to take a test each year and pass. And they're pretty good and well aware of what they can and can't do, or when they need to call Scott, or when they need to call audit and just ask for questions. So that's how it is. You don't need board's approval, provided that y'all had the same budget approved. And I confirmed, Megan, she said y'all approved what you had spent last year. Getting more into it, I know there were some questions about fees that were earned and so forth from selling at concessions and other things. That money has been put into an account, a county depository account. We got the balance. I forwarded it over to Megan. I'm looking for an entire, statement sheet, which has been sent to Brandy. So she said she can get them all over to us within probably about tomorrow. I thought she'd have them today, but as soon as I get them, I'll get them over to Megan. And that should have everything from when the account was open to, where it is now. The balance is $72,000. We have not been spending it, hadn't touched our dockets either. And so moving forward, it's probably going to be an idea for accounting. We'll create a separate fund just for the pool instead of it being, right now it's our general fund account for the county. It's 01510. We'll just move it to another fund number, and it'll be separate. So incomes and so forth will all be easily ascertainable for everybody. So that's just the update of where we're at. We can move forward. Obviously, we want the pool repaired. This was not out of line with the budget amounts that we've had before. The utilities, there'll be enough money to refill that pool, probably another $4,000 cost to refill the pool, even though it's city water. Since it's a jointly owned thing, we both have to pay it. So it's something we tried to get knocked out a few years ago, and we were told, no, you can't do that.
So you'll get Megan the official amount of that in that fund. So
or the county won't get paid. The way it's supposed to be done is, and the way it had been done in the past, is you get an invoice and it's itemized as to everything.
That's right.
It's been a few months since we've had an invoice sent over to the city, several months, but that's something that we have talked with Stephanie that we need to get back on track of doing and so forth. And that is just the status quo. I'm not talking about moving forward, moving for the immediate forward, but as to how it's going to be run or commissioned and so forth, that's for the boards to get together and decide. But until we move forward invoicing to the city, they pay their half, and that's what's has been done up until a few months ago.
Madam Pro Tem,
All right,
I have a question.
yes, go ahead.
So I would like for the board to also see the other part of the revenue. The pool's been open for a while. And I would like also for Ms. Miller or someone from the county, I hope the board does too, to come quarterly and give us reports.
Yeah,
on
regular
on
monthly
revenue.
reports.
So this is a joint project.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and request like a monthly report on, it's not going to change soon because we're off season here now. It's not going to be a
I
whole
think so.
lot of revenue coming in when it's closed.
But there has been revenue.
Yes.
That's what we
Right,
don't know.
so he's about to update us on that, so we will have that. I don't think there's a need to come to the board monthly, but they can send a report.
I don't think they need to. The
The pool's gonna be closed, I just don't
So,
know.
Well, no, it's just.
Hold on, please, all right.
because I did have some concerns as well.
Okay, so this is gonna be a major discussion then, more than just someone coming to the board to give a report, if we're gonna just get into how the pools run. So I don't think we need to do that
No, it's not.
tonight, but
I'll clarify my question. It was only for the revenue that has been
Right.
generated. That we.
now, that's what I'm saying, but they
Yes,
don't need
up
to
to
come
now.
monthly after that
It's
for the
certainly-
moment, because we aren't gonna have any other revenue.
It certainly would not
But
be
yes, I would
cumbersome at all for the county to print off the report from that, especially when we put it in its own separate fund, to send that over to you anytime that you want it or on month. And then, of course, having a department head, because it's a co-owned pool, it certainly doesn't seem unreasonable to have the department head come and give a report to y'all and to us each month. That certainly seems reasonable to me.
Right.
I don't make those decisions to tell her what to do, but it doesn't seem like a,
I mean, I would,
unreasonable.
it wouldn't mind to get a paper report, but to come and talk about the pool when it's closed every month seems a little redundant.
So, may I?
Yes.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is that, because here I'm thinking that the pool is still open from May until January, because we were told initially that we do have some swimmers that come in and swim even in the fall of the year up until January. So I'm thinking and reading that information, that was the other thing, was the funding. What did we make? How do we get our budget, that money included in our budget, if we just getting this information now? So that was a concern that I had, from May up until the closing, we haven't received, we don't know what we get monthly. I mean, we know that it's been great revenue because we look at the numbers, they were swimming lessons and all that was donated. We know those kinds of things, but
Sure.
the actual hard figure, we don't know. I have
Yep.
no idea what the pool makes. And
Yeah, I
that
don't
was the
think that's-
question that I had.
very difficult at all to give you all of that and to have regular reports, whether it's written or someone coming face to face just to tell you what's your pool, because it's half the city of Natchez, half the counties, what's going on there and so forth. And yeah, I believe it's open for, I don't think it's general public open, but I think it's open for swimming
This-
programs and so forth. yeah.
Right.
So,
All right.
no,
Let's
like I
start
said,
with
I
the
totally
monthly.
agree. And it's
Okay.
something that probably both sides
Start with
would
the monthly
want.
report showing the revenue and expenses, and that
Right.
would be great.
But the good news is it's under the possession of the county, in that we can get that information pretty quick. That was we were worried that it might not be in a different depository or whatever, but it's in the county depository. So we should be able to get that information quick. As they already sent the statement over, and I expect to have the rest of it.
That was not my concern about where it's being deposited. My concern is the dollar amount. that
Just for
we-
informational
Okay, all right.
purposes, if it wasn't in the
Okay,
county,
Because I know you're collecting.
if it's in
Definitely know
Brandy's name or Chucky or whatever, I can say, hey, I need this, and they send it over real quick. That's what I've done. So
that. Okay.
versus calling up whoever it is that has
Are
it.
there any other questions?
Yes,
All right, Alderman Frazier?
my concern is like I said, we're talking about the revenue and, how much revenue, have we got from the pool?
Just
I don't know, we don't have the numbers factor saying how much we made from the pool.
Yeah, I get
And
the
as you
accounts
say,
balance.
And another question is, the revenue from the pool, do we take that money, do we take that money and split it half and half or what? So these things, we need to find out where the money going, how much is there, and how much the county gonna get, how much the city gonna get.
Well, I was thinking the county get it all, and that
Yeah,
Well,
well, I
we
think
ain't got
that,
nothing, we ain't got nothing saying that you didn't have it. So
I think for now
that's a
they
big question to me.
kept it in reserve in case there's some major expense. Pools are expensive,
Yeah,
and
they are to
if something breaks down, we've already had a few things break down. I feel like that
Well,
money
But
needs
that's
to.
We
for
are-
maintenance.
we are-
Yeah.
What it's
We
for.
understand the part
Yes, sir,
about the
and-
maintenance.
But it's for
I
maintenance.
understand
again,
everything.
we talked. I gave Megan the statement that I had, 72,000,
870.
and we Megan, of course, asked that same question. Where is that, how's that going to be offset? So of course she's doing what she's supposed to as city clerk to get as much money as she can for the city. So yeah, we have to come up with the offset of the expenses should come from that revenue, obviously. And,
Yes.
yeah, it's never going to be a money-making deal, as plenty of things public aren't, but it certainly will help us pay costs.
And as you say, we provide the water.
You're not providing the water. Shockingly, both the city and the county have to pay
Pay for the
for
water.
water.
The
If it's a city-owned thing, then the city doesn't have to pay. But if it's this is state
Y'all
law.
pay
If
for
it's
the water?
co-owned, the
Y'all pay
city
for
and the county have to pay for it and get.
I think I'm gonna have a little question about that.
You can I'm all for it. So if you find the answer,
Well,
because that'll save us half the money.
State law, it was
But yeah,
looked into.
back when Tony Moon was there,
Yeah.
I had a big argument about it.
That's
I
what I'm
lost.
saying.
And he was right.
I am the
AG's
chairperson.
opinion
of the
says
water
that.
board. I had to go and talk to the people.
If you can get it worked out, then I will save half with you. So,
All
but
right.
I was not
That's what we're
successful.
discussing. We're discussing.
Alderman Maroney?
All right. Hopefully the pool is generating some revenue. That money's going into a fund that's going towards the maintenance of the pool. And that brings us to the question in hand, which is there's a project that needs to be done, cleaning of the pool. I think that's what we're here for, is are we going to accept one of these bids for cleaning the pool? Is that, Is that not-
Are you done?
Yeah,
We'll bring Ryan.
The plan of it
Porter
was
up.
to put it all in the same lump fund,
Right.
and you
We
have
get reimbursed.
pre-approved objectives that you can do with that fund. And so if y'all want to just say, we're not going to spend this money and do something, I don't know, you can do it however you want. Typically with funds, you take all your revenues, right? And then you have all your expenses and you just offset them that route. And if you need something, you do it. That's a
Right.
typical fund that we do.
Madam, to answer your question, the county, as you said earlier, will purchase whatever needs to be done. And then we pay our half. We get an invoice. That's how, we're not approving any of this. We don't do that.
Oh, are
It
we
comes
not?
from the county.
Well, the discussion, I think he's saying is we're gonna come out of this 70,000 now that we have some money in there.
Well, it
But
should
it's
come
gotta
from
be-
the
pool's got to be
That's what we-
One at a
maintained.
time.
Do we,
The good news is,
is approval from this board needed in order to?
No.
for
the good
Ryan
news
to
is
perform
you've
that maintenance?
already given that approval when you approved your
Yeah.
annual
Budget.
budget, because these are all, I know it sounds like a lot and it seems like it's a big deal, but it really is within that boundary of maintenance that we have. We did pretty well on maintenance
Right.
Good.
last year. So this is not an unusual expense, although it's, it seems like it because it came up. But anyway, moving forward, if we can get it out of a line item that's within budgets that y'all have already said yes, up to this amount, just like everything else.
Scott, I understand you represent the county, but I would simply like to say, Mr. Attorney, can you elaborate on this? Because you just heard the attorney, would you?
Elaborate on what?
On all this discussion about this, do you have any insight on?
Well, I agree with Mr. Slover. The funds are in the depository of the county. The county is gonna pay for what needs to be done. Send the city a bill, we pay our half, they pay their
Question.
half. What we have right now is this draining and cleaning that needs to be done. And Mr. Porter's gonna talk about that, but they've already discussed that with me and with Mr. Slover, and we're ready to proceed on that.
That's all.
What do you say is already in the
Clean
budget?
and drain the pool and refill it.
And hopefully we won't have any more stoppages, and we'll just get things streamlined so that things get fixed timely and that kind of thing. That's the point of county purchasing, centralized purchasing, to make it quick. That's what Megan's like, why does it have to be so cumbersome? I was like, well,
Right.
we have no trouble spending money, trust me. So, it should be streamlined pretty easy. So I think we'll be on the same page now, and this won't happen again.
All right, well, we thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and call up Mr. Porter because he has some specifics on the pool needs for right now. So thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Board of Aldermen and Women. I want to thank Scott Slover for taking the brunt of that discussion. It's definitely going to make my job a little bit easier. As you know, the pump has been down for a couple of months now. We ran into the same situation about this time last year. And all we can do as the city is to provide recommendations moving forward. And I'm confident now that the county is listening to us in regards to pool administration. We're working together better now than we ever have, if that makes sense. So we've been working also with Ewing Pools out of Alexandria, Louisiana. They have a commercial division. Eric Dubois is the #1 consultant in the area, and he's working with us pro bono, giving us advice. He's the guy that Blankenstein's and Superior calls when there's an issue with the commercial facility. We've worked hard this off season getting all of our controllers, gauges, sensors, valves, et cetera, repaired. So we're to a point now, once this pool is drained and pressure washed, everything will be in place to run efficiently for next season, with the exception of a backup pump, which that'll be in a couple of months. So basically, it's the same conversation that we had about this time last year. We want to make sure we have a par level of chemicals on hand. We want to make sure that we have 2 backup pumps on hand ready to change out so that we can minimize downtime from 4 to 8 weeks to literally 24 hours. So things are working well. Do we need approval for these couple of invoices?
No.
I don't know. It's already budgeted. We can move forward with that.
All right.
And that's good news because I think he's got the pumps in the pool right now, starting that process. And so moving off of the swimming pool.
Madam Pro Tem, before we move from the pool, moving forward, anytime there's an issue with the pool, as a pool liaison, as a liaison between the city and the county relative to the pool, I would recommend you attend the supervisors meeting with Ms. Miller to let them know what's going on. And then when we have our board meeting, come and let us know what goes on.
There will
That
be,
communication has to come to us.
there will
as a
certainly
liaison.
always be issues with the pool. It's
But,
just the
but
nature
it's
of the
important
business.
that you notify the board as a unit, as a pool liaison, what's going on
Okay, for
moving forward
unbudgeted expenses or just a
on issues such as
bi-monthly
this.
report?
Just on your report with recreation, if you'll just give us an
Okay.
update, if there's anything really going on with the pool, any
Anything
major
going on.
expenses. Buying a chemical for something is
No,
not
not
necessary, but
Something
something
major-
I just wanted to
Major-
I think there were a
clarify.
few people that did know the pump was down, but I
Major
do
issues.
remember that it was discussed, so. All
I
right.
have a question pertaining to, I know that this is from Alexandria, the invoice is there any one that we could get, you said it was based on recommendation?
We did. We went with Superior Pools, which is out of Fairhaven.
I'm just saying, but there was no one local, so that we could do this locally. That's what I'm asking with the repairs. Was there anyone local? Because I know there are some out there and constantly I get calls in reference to, and this is local, reputable businesses that do service pools and not outdoor pool, business pools, hotel pools. They do all of this. And so I was just asking, is there anyone local that we could have?
It's been my experience in conversation with Don Blankenstein and Devin Bryan, who owns Superior Pool, which is quasi-local out of Faraday. Anytime they have a question with a commercial operation, they contact Ewing Pool and Spas out of Alexandria. So essentially, we're just cutting out the middleman.
And that is because this, I don't know whether or not you can recall, Ryan, but we actually had a pool service here down near where the Chinese restaurant, John R. Junkin Drive, in that area there was a pool repair there. And those people still do repairs to pools.
Do you have their contact?
I can get it for
Get
you.
that
I
for
do.
me and I'll
I
put
sure
it,
will. I
I'll
share
put it
that
in
with
my
you.
arsenal.
I sure will.
Well, it's my understanding that even Blankenstein's not doing,
Blankenstein's
Very
not really
little.
equipped at this point to
I didn't
handle
want to bring this,
a pool of
I'll
our
just
size.
share the information and I will with you as well. I don't want to bring the name up, but they do. I just got a card from them recently within the last month or so.
Share that with me.
Okay, I will.
please.
all right.
Okay, so item 2, NRPA recap. Okay, so we went to Atlanta and we were filled with all this great information, great presentations, came back empowered, inspired, if you will. And then you get back to the routine of daily business. And you try to find ways to maintain that inspiration. So we've set a new goal for ourselves as a department, and that's to become the first CAPRA accredited agency in the state of Mississippi. It's a very, very prestigious recognition that shows your agency's commitment to excellence and service delivery management practices, and community engagement. Like I said, there are no accredited agencies currently in the state of Mississippi. Only 1% of agencies nationwide.
I applaud you for that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
But we have a blank slate, thanks to the efforts of Mayor Gibson, Alderwoman Hall, and all of you guys for creating this or recreating this department. So if we start off on the right foot and put policy and procedure in place, all based on industry standards and best practices, will be a shoe-in. It could be a 2 to 5 year process, but as long as we're striving for that goal, I consider that a success. And
So are you, if I may, just ask, are you getting any information from the Mississippi Municipal?
from
entity?
MML,
Yeah, MML, because they do have some, I can recall, sitting in some workshop with recreation, and they were saying about. how
right.
to
So
go
that was
about-
actually, that presentation was given by MRPA,
Okay.
Mississippi Parks and Recreation Association, which we're also a member of. I've actually been in the planning process over the last couple of weeks. We're hosting the MRPA conference here, February 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Great job.
So we're super excited about that. Any other questions about CAPRA? Well, I don't want to talk too much on that because I'll have more information in the coming weeks. We've been talking with Dr. Kim Beeson, who's the godfather of Parks and Recreation in the state of Mississippi, with the University of Mississippi. And he's told us of some grant opportunities through the USDA under the Rural Business Development Grant that would actually help us in creating a recreation master plan / strategic plan, which if you don't have a plan, what do you have? And this would be full of community engagement activities and exercises designed to determine what needs we have in Natchez and Adams County. So I think that would be something worth looking into. He's offered to write the grant for a fee, of course, or to consult with our hired grant writer, which may be the best option, to give her some expert advice in moving forward. Which brings me to the next point. Thanks to the efforts of a whole crew of people, and Debbie Hudson in particular, we were awarded funding for recreation trail development at Duncan Park in the amount of $120,000. So that's $96,000 in federal funds, and then we have to come up with $24,000 match, $13,600, which has already been committed through private monies. I thought we were pretty excited about it.
That is very exciting. And I
It is.
know that there are
And
some
we-
really incredible plans for,
And
Yes.
we will find a way to make it happen, for sure.
Duncan Park is moving into quite a destination place for recreation locally and recreation tourism as well.
And as we determined, the only reason that it's at Duncan Park is because we don't have another park large enough to host a 1.5 mile potential trail system.
I just wanted to ask, you looking for other funding, is it possible that you all can take the fees that you charge for the grills and everything out there? Could you use some of that funding to come with the other, what you're short about, $10,000, somewhere like that, $11,000?
That would be a Megan
Is
question.
that, okay? Because, we charge all these fees at the park, and so could you use some of that revenue for
We
that?
do not have significant revenue coming in for those uses.
Okay,
So we are looking for about $10,400
Mm-hmm.
to go into this, and we are looking kind of for the best unobligated funds available within the city coffers, and we'll be coming back to the board with that.
So at this time, we don't need a motion. Alderman
we don't need a
Maroney.
No, just,
I've already secured donations from a number of individuals around town, and what we came
yeah,
up
I'm
with
on the
about
hook for
13.
$1,000 myself.
We've gotten about 13,000 of it already, myself included. I'm one of them. And I've got a lot of people left to talk to. So we're hoping that we're going to be able to raise all of that match without the city having to put in a dime.
Awesome.
That's the plan.
That's
It's for us
great.
to get
That's the
private
plan.
donations.
That's
This is
the plan.
kind of a
the
baby.
plan.
All right, we'll hope the
This is kind of
plan
a
I don't
baby.
want to
Comes to
oversell it, but
fruition.
that's the plan.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm calling on all the folks I know.
All right. Anything else regarding recreation?
Pavilion renovations are underway, should be completed within the next 7 to 10 days. So be on the lookout for an email reminder for ribbon cutting ceremonies sometime in the month of November. Also, we have our trunk or treat coming up October 31st, 5 to 7 on the block. And we're super excited about that. We're encouraging, we've got a slightly different footprint this year. Instead of lining up on the road, we're actually going to get into the grass on the bluff. We're going to allot each vehicle, if they choose, to have 3 spaces side by side. And we're encouraging them to set up some sort of a carnival game in between the vehicles to have some sort of interaction with the kids before they give them candy. So
All right.
we'll see how that goes.
Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, I did ask Mr. Porter where we stand with the disc golf baskets at North Natchez Park.
I just
And
got
we're
off.
close to
I
that.
just got off the phone with Jay Redding with the EDGE program, who we're trying to get into town as a keynote speaker for the MRPA conference. As you know, that we donated $4,500 to the cause last year. Our goal this year is $2,500, which will come complete with the park course. How do they put it? The park course program, if you will. And that disc golf tournament is scheduled for November 16th of this year, and it is a 100% fundraising event. So we encourage locals and travelers as well.
Thank you.
Had you advertised?
Alderwoman Irving, would you?
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to ask, had you advertised and got a flyer out? So that
We typically advertise disc golf through a couple of tournament websites, pdga.com, Facebook, obviously, and disc golf scene. So that reaches your true disc golfers, if you will. But we will work at getting more community.
because there may be a lot of
advertisement
youth out there wanting to learn the game, and I know you said tournament, but
That's
we just- I know
that's the goal,
different.
is to raise money from these events so that we can get this EDGE course package, which comes with travel baskets, disc, starter bags, so that we can use that as a tool to implement into our school systems
That's right.
and to utilize at North Natchez Park as well.
All right. Thank you
So
very
that's
much.
going to be our segue into the schools.
Thank you.
Excellent report with
Thank you.
excellent good news. Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have Mr. Dollar next from Public Works. Is he here?
James,
Oh, we have Mr.
thanks
Johnson.
back to me.
Good evening.
Do you want me to do Mr. Dollar's report first, or just give
Please
mine?
go ahead with Mr.
Do-
Dollars.
Okay. I did place an updated report at your respective desks, and let me turn to a couple of items for Mr. Dollar. See what they are. Hold on. We'll go to page 3 of my updated report. Milling and overlay of Canal and Homachita Street. Bids for the above referenced project were received in the city clerk's office until 10:00 a.m. today,
What
Tuesday.
We were going to proceed with Mr.
I thought
Dollar's
you said
report.
Mr. Dollar's report.
Well, that is part of,
That
I mean,
is.
that's really joint his
Oh,
and mine.
okay.
I just put them all as one.
I understand. Thank you.
But that is his.
Ma'am?
I said that is his.
Yes, page
Uh-huh.
3. I mean, really, those are public works, slash, because we work together on multiple projects. Milling and overlay of Canal and Homachita Street. Bids for the above referenced project were received in the city clerk's office until 10:00 a.m. today, Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. A summary of the bids received are as follows. And you see, we did receive 2 bids from APAC Mississippi, Inc. and Thibault Construction Services, LLC. You see the respective base bid and the ad alternate bid. The difference between the two is the base bid calls for a 1 1/2 inch asphalt overlay. The ad alternate price is a 2-inch asphalt overlay. Everything else is consistent. Now I will go over the little summary that follows, because there was a mathematical error in the bid from Thibault Construction Services, LLC. While reviewing the bids, the city's consulting engineering firm, Volkert, discovered a mathematical error in the Thibault Construction Services, LLC bid as it pertains to the quantity of asphalt specified for the base bid and the at alternate 1. The correct base bid for Theobald Construction Services should have been $942,401 and no cents. And the correct at alternate number 1 bid should have read $1,109,696 and 0 cents. Once the errors were discovered, Vulcan, along with the city clerk, public works superintendent, and staff, called and spoke with Theobald Construction. Theobald Construction was made aware of that mathematical error and will honor their corrected bid and or corrected at alternate number 1 bid. Any questions so far? Okay. Staff, Mr. Dollar, Ms. McKenzie, and myself, in conjunction with Vulcan, recommend accepting the corrected at alternate number 1 bid from Theobald Construction Services LLC totaling $1,109,696, noting that at alternate number 1 involves the laying of 2 inches of asphalt versus laying of 1 1/2 inch of asphalt as specified in the base bid. Pleasure of the board.
I'd like to move that we accept that at alternate 1 from Theobald Construction.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Maroney and a second from Alderwoman Irving. Any discussion on the motion? Call for the question.
All.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
I do want to add that we did receive an email to confirm Theobald honoring the revised bid as well, and that will be, in our respective file. And Ms. McKenzie has a copy of that same email. Crepe myrtle treatment. The Public Works Department received quote bids for the treatment of the crepe myrtle bark scale, CNBS, that is a persistent insect that severely impacts crepe myrtle trees across Mississippi. The last city-sponsored treatment was in 2021. Public Works was tasked with receiving quote bids to again apply treatment to 2,500 plus or minus trees located within public right-of-way. The 2 quotes received are as follows. Yard Defense LLC out of Natchez, unit cost of $13.50 per tree. Fungum Tree Preservation out of Tupelo, unit cost of $25 per tree. Estimated cost, if low bid for Yard Defense LLC is accepted, is estimated to be $33,750. Staff is requesting a motion to accept the quote of Yard Defense LLC of Natchez on a per cost basis of $13.50 per tree. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
We've got first by Alderwoman Irving and second by Alderwoman Hall. Is there any discussion on the motion? Call for the question.
Oh.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
And I know
All
I'll wait to the,
opposed?
yeah. Oh, no, none.
None. Okay. So
But I just want to
real
say, include all those in the right of way.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I just want to specifically say, those on Brenham Avenue, they do need to be treated and trimmed right there, but treated definitely.
I don't know if trimming is involved.
Treated. Treated. On Brenham Avenue, right in front of the Water Works plant. Okay. All right. Thank
I was
you.
involved in planting them
Okay.
back in 2000. Yeah, 2000. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Johnson,
They're
thank you.
beautiful,
Move
but
on.
they do need it.
What's next?
If you'll go to page 1 and do my report if y'all would like, since I am standing up here.
Please.
All right. New Beginnings, Vine Street and Old Washington Road Emergency Watershed Program with funding from the Natural Resource Conservation Service. Bids were received for the above reference of EWP until 10 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday, October 8th. A summary of the bids received are listed on my report. Staff, in concert with consulting engineer JKS, is requesting a motion to accept the bid of Hope Enterprises for this erosion control project, and this project has no match.
Do we have a motion
That's in Alderman.
to accept Hope Enterprises low bid?
Frazier's, we're down here
Okay,
on, Waterworks, that's in your ward. New beginnings.
you can move on.
We're on the first.
Okay.
Okay, so we
Page
need
1.
a motion for this.
I would, please.
Ask anyone? He doesn't know yet.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Okay. All right. Do y'all have Alderman Irving and then Alderman Davis? Where's the second? Any discussion?
This is in reference, Alderman Frazier to New Beginnings, EWP.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Okay, yes.
We've
Alderman
used
Maroney.
Hope Enterprises before, haven't we? Are they local?
Yeah. The Goday brothers.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
They have at least
they've
3
done good.
contracts now with the city. Yes.
Any other discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
So Hope Enterprises, we have accepted their low and best bid.
We're in the process, yes, ma'am.
We're
So what
discussion.
Yeah, we're
We're in
just discussing. We
Right.
haven't voted yet.
Yes, that's, I'm asking. What,
We're in the motion
We're in
to
the
accept the
process.
Yes,
bid,
that's
the low
why-
bid.
yes, that's what I'm asking you. Because they already have a project with us.
They have several,
So
yes,
is there
ma'am.
going to be a conflict when they begin this project?
No, ma'am, they're currently under contract with us and their contracts are open. Now, should we get to the end of their contract and there be an issue, the board may decide to assess liquidated damages or not. But I mean, there's nothing to preclude us from entering into a new contract with them for an additional work.
Well, that was relative to my question for conflict, because if they're not completing the project,
One has, I
we
don't,
can
in my mind,
seek
and it may be a
liquidated-
legal question, but I don't think one has anything to do with the other.
We can
Nothing.
just refer to our city attorney, whether the
If they're
two,
not completing a project in time,
Then,
and we're
then-
awarding them another project,
based
that's
on-
my concern.
based on that project, the city can, within its discretion, assess damages
Thank you.
based on what the contract calls for.
Yes.
But they are the lowest and best bid here, and I don't think there's a precedent to reject them based on a project that is
No, I'm
open and not a
asking to
deadline.
reject them. I'm not asking to reject them.
Okay.
I'm just asking that we can't seek damages if they don't complete a project.
That will be up to the
with
board, yes,
another
ma'am.
open project.
Up to the board.
Thank you.
all right, any
I
other
got- yeah.
discussion? Yes, Alderman, please go ahead.
Just let me simply say this. I'm like Miss Hall here, Alderwoman Hall. My concern is that you say they already done, how many projects do Hope Construction Company have with the city?
They have two open with the city.
Two open
Alderman
now?
French. Yes, sir. They are the Golf Clubhouse Phase 1 and Convention Center bid package number 2.
Okay, so this is for new beginning, buying Old Washington Road,
Yes, sir.
all these, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a total of what, four projects?
Well, it's actually one, was awarded to the city as one project. That's why we bid it as one
Well, they're gonna
project.
do all three of these.
So Hope Construction gonna do all three of these.
Yes, sir.
How many other people did we have to bid on this?
Well, it's listed right there.
No, I'm sorry, besides these the only three?
They're the only ones that submitted bids. We make sure that all our bids are open to the public. We advertise in the local newspaper and MTAP and central bidding. So
Here's my concern.
Okay.
And I hate to get into this, I'm gonna say this. My concern is that these three companies, I've had black contractors call me and asking me when they're gonna get shot these bids. And I'm trying to figure out, do you mean to tell me there were 3 people bidding on this when the black contractors been calling me, asking me when are they gonna put out the bids, when I put out, and I tell them to call uptown, call you or somebody to see when they're gonna give it out. So that's my concern about this too. And like I say, the other concern is that they got a whole lot of projects that going on, and I'm like Ms. Hall too. If they don't complete the project, if we gonna get paid our money back or what?
Well, as I did state a moment ago, Alderman Hall, we do advertise in the newspaper. Also, staff does come before the board to seek permission to advertise the project. So, I mean, not only do I appear here, but I think it's streamed through 2 platforms, and in the newspaper, and central bidding, and on the state website as well.
Yeah, I understand, Jack, but I'm just simply saying, like I say, I understand what you're doing, I respect what you're doing, but I'm gonna be the one to come back to get that flag. When they say, why wasn't we informed of this? I just, like I say you put it out, and how they put it out, I like I said, I'm not familiar with it, but that's just one of my concerns. But let's move on.
But before we do, I just want to just get our city attorney to confirm we're going through the proper channels, the legal way that's mandated by the state to get these bids.
We're going through the proper channels. It's the lowest, best bid by far. And in
And the
my opinion,
advertisement of it is my main.
actually, the advertisement of it has been concluded, and it's a done deal, but it was done according to the provision.
That's my question, because my encouragement would be for everybody to bid on them. They're out there. You
My
have-
question is, I understand what y'all saying.
I had the floor.
I understand what you're saying, but I get back to my turn.
Well, we want, the more bids we get, the better opportunities we have.
agree.
So I hope that we get more bids and, all right.
I just want to say, as far as the projects are concerned, they've got 2 active projects for the city. I don't think there have been any projects that they've done for the city that they have not completed.
That is correct. I mean, you
And-
know, they
and-
finished.
And the two projects that they're working on are completely different type of projects. The people that are working on the Duncan Park Clubhouse and the Convention Center stuff, that's a different type of project and a different kind of work. It's gonna be a whole different set of people, a whole different set of workers doing this type of work. So,
All right.
you know,
Alderwoman
worrying
Irving.
about whether their crews are gonna get pulled off the Duncan Park Clubhouse to go work on this is a dirt work project. This is a drainage project. Those guys doing carpentry work at Duncan Park Clubhouse and Convention Center, they're not gonna be out here doing dirt work. I mean, it's
Right.
completely separate crews, so that's not gonna be a problem. I don't see any issues.
Alderwoman Irving, did you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I do want to make a comment. We just recently said that we will have a meeting of some kind to inform the public how the bid process take place. And so that was just recently discussed about a month ago. I'm just saying, it has been, and maybe that's what needs to happen so that when local contractors are wanting to place their bid, we would have the education that they need. And that was something, if you all can recall, we just said that's about maybe 6 weeks ago in the meeting that
I
is
missed
needed.
that meeting. I
Okay.
was sick.
Okay.
Well, I would,
But there was a conversation, and so all I'm asking, from this point moving forward, maybe that should happen, and we should get a date, a concrete date when that can, so that the public, the other contractors will understand the bidding process and how it moves forward.
let
with
me just
placing
real
bids.
quick say something. Our bidding process has never changed.
still
They
legal.
can call City Hall.
all
Anybody
legal.
that's interested in bidding on a city project,
Right.
please call City Hall and get instructions.
Call City
Look in the
Hall.
paper, look for the process that we go through every time we do a bid.
Right.
And if my constituent was calling me saying that, I would say, hey, did you look in the paper? Did you call City Hall? I mean, we're doing our part. And we want more bids. That helps the city get the best
But if you
price
want-
and the best bid.
And I hear you, but you have to also understand their position as well.
Which
If
is-
they're requesting, you know, if we said we should follow through on what we
We're
say
not
we
gonna
would
have a
do.
meeting.
And if we were gonna offer that to the public, at this point, hearing what Alderman Frazier just stated, that's something that the public needs to know and understand the bid process. So why is this really an issue
It
other than
shouldn't be.
setting a date?
This
So
should
that
not be
we
an
could
issue.
get better understanding or more education about the bidding process.
Madam
That's
Pro Tem.
only informing your constituents in your community, keeping them informed.
Why don't you do that?
Madam Pro Tem.
Any constituents that request something from you, find out the process for them. Go
But
or
this is the
have them
thing,
call
now,
City
see,
Hall.
this is the thing.
Okay,
Madam
hold
Pro
on.
Tem.
We're going, just hold on one second.
Okay,
This,
okay.
this,
All right.
we've had this issue come up a lot of meetings. We go through that. We just do the same. We feel like we're on a hamster wheel every time. We need to get this passed or not. Let's have a vote on this. I would like to call for the question on this vote.
Okay, we can have the vote.
All right, let's call for the question.
Call.
All right, all in favor of the
Aye.
motion? Any opposed? No, the motion passes. So now my next request would be, I would like for you to contact the mayor when he gets back in town, and y'all can discuss if you want to have a meeting like this, or you could call the Democrat and ask if they would put out an article.
No, ma'am,
That's an
no,
option
Madam
too.
Pro Tem.
no, ma'am,
May
no,
I-
ma'am.
Excuse me, I first, Alderwoman Hall,
Thank
and then I will give the floor to
I
you.
think the attorney and Mr. Johnson have already said what we do is legal advertisements.
Let's
not
have
here-
order, please.
We are not here to walk a contractor through the advertisement process. And if they are legal, if they have their licenses, they already know
They
the
know.
advertisement process. They're working with city governments. They know to go to City Hall. We're not here. These are not children we're working with to educate them on the advertisement process.
Well, I just think, you know.
All right,
Ms.
let's,
Mayor.
well,
Okay,
Alderman Frazier
Alderman
was
Frazier. Okay,
next.
No problem.
And let's,
I'm
move
not
on.
arguing with anyone.
I know,
just
I-
do the
No,
same.
ma'am.
I will give it to you
We're
next.
not arguing. I'm just, as the Alderman down there, Moroni stated earlier, this company is doing, that is Hope, is Enterprise. Like I say, this is not just confined to one thing. They're doing more than one job around town. I understand that too, but that's what I'm just simply stating. As I look on this contract, and like I say, a lot of people ain't gonna like what I'm saying, but the truth is the truth. And every time I look on this contract, the same old contractors on this list right here. Now, ain't no one is gonna sit there and tell me that the same people are getting the same contract all over the city of Natchez. And like I say, somebody, they ain't gonna like it. I'm not trying to negotiate on anybody or anything, but it look like to me it's the good old boy system.
We have so often not even had anybody bid on projects. We're a small town and there are just certain numbers of people that, and businesses that can do certain number of
Small town,
jobs.
you got to eat.
But we're gonna move on to you and then we're gonna move on to the next thing on the
Yes.
agenda. Please, Alderman.
Have we voted?
And I want to say, yes, we did. So
We need
We're
to
trying to
again,
move on.
I just want to say this, that when constituents do come with their genuine concerns, their
Move on.
questions, they've been told different things by
Then you-
different people. Every time something different is being told to them.
By
I can
whom?
use an
By
example.
whom?
Okay, I can use an example. With one of our business owners. But again, if the information being given to the citizens were consistent, then it would make a
If a
difference. And
potential
that,
contractor calls me, I feel like I am consistent. I say, we do advertise in the local newspaper. We do advertise on central bidding. And we do advertise with Mississippi Agency Bid Bank, which is required by law. So I actually received a phone call about a month or so ago from somebody saying, do we do this? I said, yes, ma'am, we do. So we are following the letter of the law in advertising. We cannot make a contractor, local or otherwise, bid on a project. And yes, we do see a lot of the same names on a regular basis because we don't have that many contractors here.
right.
All right, let's move on,
I
please.
I get
Would
that,
you
but
please go?
Like I said, then my next question is, are you the only person that they speak with every time they have a concern about a
If they
contract?
call upstairs, I mean, they call
And
us
then
when
see,
they
that
report
may
it
be
to
the
me.
issue there.
But also downstairs, they do know who primarily handles these projects, and the calls do get referred to me. And I do answer them I try on a consistent basis
Okay.
to say the same thing, because it's always been the same way. The newspaper, central bidding, and MTAP. And
All
I
right,
keep
let's
support
move on to the
documentation with
next
every project file.
item. Mr. Johnson, thank you for your clear and concise work that you do. All right, go ahead, please.
Thank you.
Where was
Um,
I? Okay, deductive change order number 1, Canal Street Bridge repair. Staff in concert with consulting engineer Stantec is requesting motion to approve the deductive change order number 1 totaling $4,310, reducing the Dozer Inc. contract from $630,487.50 to $626,537.50. Items to be deducted from change order number 1 include omitting 2 holes per splice plate assembly, omit 2 drilling holes in beam per splice plate assembly, and add 3 by 3 by 5 and 8/10 of an inch steel plate washer to have single 5/16 inch hole in center.
so moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Call for the question.
Paul.
All in favor of the motion? All opposed? Motion passes. And did you all get the first and second? Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, go ahead, please.
I Care for Animals, Mississippi Board of Animal Health. Staff in concert with Ms. Jenna Holyoke, Mississippi Spay and Neuter, is requesting a motion for the City of Natchez to again be the sponsor of an application for an I Care for Animals application totaling $3,500 to assist the organization provide spay and neuter vouchers to local veterinarians to help reduce the number of unwanted litters of kittens and puppies.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Call for the question.
Paul.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next page. Angeletti House Preservation 2023 Community Heritage Preservation Grant funded by the Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Bids for the above referenced preservation project were received until 10 o'clock a.m. on Thursday, October 17th. A summary of the bids received are as follows. You see we received 2 bids. You see their respective base bid, deductive alternate number 1, unit cost number 1, and project days. Construction funds available for this project total $216,067.70, leaving a shortfall of $15,932.30, which is within the 10% of budgeted funds. And speaking with City Clerk Megan McKenzie, the board could utilize the $10,000 budgeted for the Angeletti House Maintenance Fund in FY25 properties, and the remaining funds could come from the general fund. Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
And then would you make sure to add the subject to review and approval?
Oh, yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And we would be accepting the base bid of Smith Painting.
That's the
Subject to review
232.
of approval.
My bad. The
I was
base
about to
bid
say,
of Wilmore
Wilmore
Construction.
Construction,
My bad,
best in-
my
yeah.
bad. I looked at it wrong.
Okay, that's okay.
And
My
add
bad.
the
Add-
requirement subject to the
Subject to
review.
review.
Yes, ma'am, because I'll be
Okay.
emailing them in the morning, letting them know our results, and so we can get our benchmark checked.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Madam Pro Tem, I have a question.
Yes.
It's important that this is a community heritage preservation grant from Archives and History. And in that grant, it specifies that this building will be open to any public entity that wishes to use it, not any one entity.
Yes.
Well,
First of all, did we do it? Did we get a motion on that?
we did.
Okay, who was the first
Oh,
and
who
second?
was
I did.
Okay, all right, just
I
making
did
sure.
it.
So this is part of the discussion.
Okay.
I just want the public
So-
to be aware of that.
Well, I just wanted to ask, could you provide documentation on that? But the other thing that I wanted
It's in
to
the
ask too,
grant.
that if it's in the grant, just provide the documentation so that we all can
documentation?
see it, that it's to be open to
Well,
anyone.
currently, it's not under lease, so I mean, technically it is open, but.
But is that in writing?
That was
That's all I'm
specified
asking.
It's
by
not under
Archives and
lease.
History.
Okay.
But-
Oh, no.
No,
It's not under lease, so I mean, it's a city building, so
It's
the
a
city
city
has the
building.
pleasure of allowing
But
anyone
it-
who would like into the building.
All right, we're gonna have
So then
order.
we-
If anybody would like, okay, you have the floor. You were talking, so
Okay,
please
so-
continue.
What I want to go is, we have, this is for the maintenance for the all work associated with the removal of the existing wood handicap ramp. This is what this is for.
No, ma'am, that's
I'm
the
not there
deduct
yet.
alternate. So we are going to
not there
accept
yet.
that we are including that item in the bid. We are going to include the ADA ramp. That is
Okay.
included in it.
Okay, so what would this entire grant include for repairs at the engineering house?
I can send you the scope of work. I didn't bring
Because
it
I
with
wasn't,
me.
and my
but
reason for asking, because it's the roof.
The roof is
security.
on there, yes.
That's what I
I just,
need.
again, I didn't bring the scope of work. I brought it in the past. I didn't bring it today.
Okay,
That
so
is the
that was the
main
main, yeah,
piece.
because I wanted to say, if it's not
It's gotta be
including the
part-
roof based on this
It
amount,
is.
then we need to get the tarps back up there because the weather has dried them out and they're not, securing the
I'll email
building
the scope of
anymore.
work.
Okay,
All
okay.
right, any other discussion? Everybody good? Call for the question. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. All right, let's move on to the
Could I
next.
say something else before we move on in reference to it? Instead of using the $10,000, and this is what I had in my note, instead of using the 10,000, could we possibly look at the community development fund? Or, and the reason why I'm asking, because when you go inside the building, when we said maintenance, that was the purpose of asking for the maintenance money, because you gotta look at the walls, it's a lot of work needs to be done to that building.
We're not
with the-
doing inside work. This is exterior
That's
work.
what the maintenance would be
Okay,
for.
well, again, I think that question can be posed to Ms. McKenzie to see if there may be other monies available.
Okay.
I have to defer to her.
But with this motion that we just approved, would that include using the $10,000?
Yes.
Yes,
That would, yes.
Yes, we just. approved.
Okay,
Okay, all right.
let's keep order here. All right.
I'm just asking the question, so that
Okay,
we
Mr.
have clarity.
Johnson, move on to your next. Is that it for you?
Auburn Pavilion and Billiard Hall Preservation.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
ma'am.
On that, did we do the deduct alternate with number one?
We are,
Ramp.
that is included in the
And that-
bid, so that will be,
And that's
will be
also
done.
included approval of Archives and History for the
Correct.
aluminum ramp.
Yes,
Correct.
that
Yes,
was
ma'am.
mentioned in the motion.
And keep in mind as well, before we even get here, that has already been approved by Archives and History. We have that letter on file.
Thank you.
All right.
Auburn Pavilion and Billiard Hall Preservation, a 2022 CHPG grant. At the August 27th meeting of the mayor and board, staff in concert with Belinda Stewart Architects received approval for change order number 2 that included purchasing 6-foot 8-inch doors to replace the originally specified 7-foot doors because they did not clear the raft tails. The cost of this activity in that change order totaled $2,685, and the unused doors are currently stored in the billiard hall. On Friday, BSA called to see if the city was willing to sell the 2 originally purchased doors since they were no longer needed because BSA was in need of similar doors for another project they were overseeing for the city of Okolona. Per Mississippi Code 317M6, staff is requesting a motion to sell the 2 originally purchased 7-foot doors to the city of Oklahoma, Okolona, thank you. For what the city paid, $2,685, noting that this section of the code allows for intergovernmental sales, purchases, and donations without any of the familiar procurement procedures, and if less than fair market value, that is determined to be in the best interest of the taxpayers of the state of Mississippi.
So moved.
All right, a second. We have a second.
Before we get,
We'll wait for discussion. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Alderman Davis. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the
Call for
motion?
question.
Call for the question.
It has to-
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed?
No, I have discussion.
All right, so I asked that you all keep order like we would do. Y'all had your discussion, but it wasn't a discussion in
He
front
was
of our
asking about two
audience
motions.
and.
No, he didn't.
So
Madam.
I will go
Yes,
back
ma'am.
and I will let us have discussion, but please, let's keep order. And so y'all can hear when we ask for discussion. So who would like to have discussion on
Alderman
this?
Frazier had a question
I
about
was just having
All
a
right.
question.
motion.
Alderman Frazier.
Yes, I was just simply at the motion. I understand what you're saying. I thank you for correcting me, but my concern was that if we're gonna make a motion, should we make it not just one motion, two motions? Should we make a motion on the first one and then the second one?
I'm going to defer to
Yeah.
Mr. Johnston.
I personally,
See, the first one
Should
is
be one.
that we approve the change order.
no,
Two.
that was already
That's
approved.
It was
already done.
approved.
We did back that in August, yes, sir.
Okay. That's
I
what
was just making the board aware that we had, what we
All
had
right.
done
Madam
previously.
Okay, and I was just concerned, the second one, should we make, that's.
Yeah, and we're getting actually what we paid. I mean, we're actually going to break even, so we'll be written a
We're
check
getting our money back.
by the city of Okolona. We'll get a check back,
Right.
and it'll be given to Miss McKenzie.
This is a good thing. This doesn't always happen very often.
And keep in mind, it's been years ago, but we actually did utilize this section of the code back in 2014. When Sam called, I immediately thought of that. When we had the recycling program and we provided equipment to Brookhaven and other communities, that's what we used, the same section.
No, I didn't have any
I know.
issue with it. No,
All
no.
right.
But I
What
wanted to
we-
give some
I was saying
history
about-
here.
yeah,
We
about
have
the
done
motion.
this before.
I don't have a motion, no problem with nothing.
Madam
All right,
Chairman, I have a question.
Okay, Alderwoman Hall.
Auburn is a landmark.
Say that again?
Auburn is a landmark.
Yes, ma'am.
Mississippi landmark.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
does the code allow us to
That has
sell?
nothing to do with it.
Mm-mm.
So archives and history does not need to.
Well,
be
Archives already
consulted?
approved the doors,
The sale of the doors.
but they're not involved with the sale of the doors. They belong to the city.
That's why I'm asking.
They belong to the
Being a
city.
Yeah, that's
landmark.
not related to.
That is something different.
To
You know,
their
I mean,
oversight.
the doors were specified for the project. The doors have been approved. They were incorrectly sized, so they were not needed. We purchased new approved doors. Those are in storage right now at the billiard hall. So yes, I mean, Archives is aware of the doors purchased and placed at the pavilion, but they have nothing to do with us selling what we're not
Okay, this
using.
wasn't clear. It wasn't
All right.
clearly
Call for the question.
specified. That's why I'm asking the question.
Ma'am?
Call for the question.
Oh,
All in favor of the motion?
aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnston,
Yes,
for your
ma'am.
patience. We have a lot of questions.
Okay.
We will have Mr. Jody Rudder. Please come up front for your report. Our city inspector. We thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Board.
Thank you. Good evening.
Seeking approval to proceed with the Armstrong Library shutter repair. I've given you a price from Thorpe Sheet Metal for $28,876.50 and a price from Johnny Abbott for $12,500. We have the money in the 103 Public Property Fund for the library, and I'm asking that you accept the low bid of $12,500 from Johnny Abbott. What's your pleasure?
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have Alderwoman Hall, and then Alderman Davis was the second. Any discussion on the motion? I'll call for the question.
All,
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we've got James Johnson again for Planning Community Development.
It needs to be stopped.
No, he did all of that.
He covered
Yeah.
everything. Okay. All right. We've got city officials report. We're going to start with Alderman Maroney tonight. We'll start on the other end.
How about that? We had a great weekend this past weekend. This is about as rested and relaxed as I've been in about a week. A lot of folks in town. I talked to a lot of downtown merchants. They had a good, they had a very good weekend. So Balloon Festival was a success. Hopefully we'll have good numbers on it, but the numbers I care about are local merchants and restaurants and hotels. They were all so very good. That's it for me.
All right. Alderman Davis?
Oh, I think that was last board meeting when we approved for the raises for these two employees. I got their numbers. I think we have to do a budget amendment.
We do not, because
We do?
it is the funds are included in their budget because we have a lot of new hires that we won't
Okay.
get through. So in that case, you don't have to do, and I will get the city clerk to concur.
Right, so in the payroll portion of the budgets for those departments, there were vacancies that have not been filled and probably will not be filled this even first quarter, if at all, in this fiscal year. So there are adequate funds available within the budget for their departments to cover those raises.
So when they're gonna start?
They went into effect immediately when
Immediately.
y'all voted on that at the last
Okay.
board meeting.
Oh, that's all I need. to
But
know.
thank you for making sure on that.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Okay.
All right.
Alderwoman Irving?
Yes, thank you. I want to make the announcement of the Mississippi State Conference of the NAACP. It's proud to announce the 79th Annual Mississippi State Conference Convention set to take place in the historic city of Natchez, November the 7th through the 10th. As one of the most outstanding events in our history, we're all in as we continue to be a beacon of hope, progress, and unity for our community. So that conference is taking place and we've secured a table there, so I'm looking forward to it. Also, I just want to bring awareness to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is, when we see the colors pink and purple, there is just a reminder for us to make sure that we are taking care of our own health and reminding others to do so as well. Also, it's Domestic Violence Month awareness, and it's to unite and advocate for those people, to unite and advocate across the nation in efforts to end domestic violence, our city and our state and across the nation. And that ends my report.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman Irving. And Alderman Fraser, do you have a report?
Yes, I just want to say, I don't see anyone, maybe you can take this down, on Concord Avenue, Miller Pipeline, that it's a big pothole that occurred there, and they need to get that filled. So I think this Miller Pipe Company got that. Also,
I took care of it yesterday.
downtown by the coffee shop, there's a sinkhole developing there. It's a big street that starts caving in downtown, right there by the coffee shop. Last, I just want to say this, as Alderman Moroni said, there was a very good weekend. There's a lot of people in town. I mean, revenues should look good for this month coming up because there's a lot of people here. And the balloon race kicked off and everything else. Also, I just want to say, I want to give a shout out to Natchez High, who had a wonderful homecoming event, parade and everything else. Although there was some little controversy that people post on Facebook, but we get past, we're gonna march past that. But like I say, it was a great weekend. Natchez is busy, it's on the go. And like I say, the revenue should be good. And I just like to say, keep on kicking Natchez, and we're gonna keep it on. Thank you very much.
All right, Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, I would like to say that also Natchez High did have a legitimate permit for their parade. There was some miscommunication along the way, and I think that has been rectified. I did speak to the mayor about that, but they did have a permit for that parade.
Alderwoman Hall, may I interrupt 1 second? I just wanted to let the city clerk know that Alderman Davis needed to leave early for a matter, so you'll note that. Thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So along with that and the balloon festival concurred with Alderman Moroni and Alderman Fraser that economic development was in full force and there should be a great revenue from those two events. Also, I'd like to address those present and those online listening that all behavior is learned, and whatever racial division you continue to put in print or do orally, however you want to do it, Facebook, whatever, children are watching, and my heart goes out to that child and family who were subject to racial epithet at school. There should not be a place in here for that at all. So you are being watched and mimicked. So be careful what you do. And I do invite everyone to a symposium on race here, April the 5th, 2025 at the Convention Center, 9 to 4. Open to the public, and lunch will be provided. So I do encourage you to come to that race symposium.
And that's at the convention center?
Yes,
Yes.
at the
okay.
Convention Center,
And say the date again?
April the 5th, 2025. So there is no place for racial epithets in this community. You are being watched, and your behavior is being mimicked. We have every ethnicity in this city: Pakistani, Hispanic, Asian, Black, white. People from Nepal are in this community. Everyone is welcome in this community. No one should be subjected to any racial division. And we know it goes on and it needs to end. I did attend the small town conference a few weeks ago in Vicksburg. It was very well done, very well attended. And one of the things, there were many issues discussed. We apparently aren't the only municipality with some issues that go on among in the board meetings. And from here on out, I will be making a motion to recess when order is not adhered to. The mayor should not have to continue to gavel, or the mayor pro tem continue to gavel seeking order. So I will make a motion to recess for 10 minutes until order can be restored moving forward. We had groundbreaking at Morgantown and at the Canal Street Bridge within the last 2 weeks. And there are members of the community from Morgantown who did attend that groundbreaking ceremony. So we are moving forward with our infrastructure, and we need to be proud of the work that we are doing. Thank you, Madam.
All right, now thank you for that good report, Alderwoman Hall. And then we will move on to the city clerk's report. Madam Clerk?
Okay, excuse me, we have broken the docket down to try to allow people to vote on, allow the aldermen to vote on everything but, the certain departments that they need to recuse from. So the first docket that I have for approval is the general docket for the final fiscal year 24 invoices, where transit and fire department items have been removed.
All right, so we would ask Alderwoman Irving to recuse herself.
No, this one, fire has been removed.
Okay, I had heard it was not going to be removed, so I'm glad.
No, yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I
The
apologize.
fiscal year 25 did
Okay.
not get split into 3.
Gotcha. All right, so I'd ask for a motion to,
So moved.
Second.
all right, any discussion on the motion?
Yes, ma'am. I had a question, and this is on page 2 in the docket. And it's account number 001040637. And you see the vendor there.
Okay, hold on though. Are you looking at the one that's on the front page, $364,333?
No, ma'am, I'm looking.
On the front page of the docket that you're looking at, what is the total?
Yes, the total amount, yes.
Okay, that is the
That's the
fiscal
one.
year 25. I haven't gotten to that one yet.
Okay,
We are looking at the one that totals $66,753.66.
okay.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? Call for the question. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay. The next one is the docket. The front page is $1,126.75. Since Alderman Davis had to leave early, this one is for transit. So request for approval of this docket.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the motion?
Call for the question.
Called.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed to the motion? Motion passes.
Okay, then the next one that I have is 14,983.29. It does include fire, or it is the 1-4 fire department. Also, the fiscal year 25 was not broken into 3 different dockets. It was all in one. So it includes fire department, as does the mini docket. Does have a couple of items on it that pertain to the fire department.
And I just want to give an update. I did receive some information pertaining to the opinion, and what I will be getting in contact with the attorney in reference to it as well, so that we can have, because this is a lot of information. If I can't be
We need a
included in
motion to
this.
accept this one.
Okay.
Are you-
And I'm gonna
Go ahead.
recuse myself, but I should be able to
All
have
right.
discussion.
Thank you, Alderwoman Irving, for recusing yourself.
Felicia had a question about something
I did.
could she at least ask that question before she recuses herself from the
That's
vote? Or
what
does she have to?
we've discussed, that has to be done prior to the meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And so
Well, I
during,
don't have access to,
we all get this in our packets. Well, now we've had them now.
okay,
And that's
but
what we do. I mean.
I don't have that time to do, and honestly, that's not what we do. And you all, I'm gonna recuse myself, but I do want to say this to the public. This is a public body, and we are a public body that should take care of the city's business openly in the public, not a one-on-one conversation.
Okay, well, I'm just
Okay,
gonna say,
I'm
the
recusing
personal.
myself because, again, none of the concerns that I have,
Madam,
and if it's in reference to an account,
Recess, the order can be restored if she can't leave.
but I will have that
Let's go.
in a few days.
And ask for the motion to approve this. Docket.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion on the motion? Call for the question.
Call.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay, the next request is for the fiscal year 2025 docket. That is the one that the grand total on the front is $364,333.98.
So moved.
Any
It's
second on
fine.
the motion?
That's fine, right, accept.
All right, any discussion on the motion?
I'm sorry, who was the second? Okay.
Alderman Maroney. Any discussion on the motion? All right, call for the question.
Called.
All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
Next item is request for approval of the mini docket.
And she needs to
She can
stay.
come back in.
No, it does include
Minute
fire.
back?
Okay.
It does include fire.
Yes,
Oh,
fire.
okay.
Oh, it does include
Yes.
fire?
It does include
All right, all
So
right.
moved.
Second on the motion?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Call for the question.
Called.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion passes. All right,
I have one more item, but allow her to return.
all right.
And I would kind of like to just put this out there as a potential compromise to this situation. I know with your work schedule, you're not always available when I'm in the office. So I'm going to offer, if you would like to email me any specific questions that you have, I can respond to that email. And I will be happy to bring that email to include in my presentation when these dockets are being approved, if you have recused yourself, to let everyone know what your concerns were and be able to answer those concerns. If that helps, I am happy to do that.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That's a great suggestion for now until we get more information. You said you are going to bring more, and that's good.
I am. And the reason why I'm saying that, because, this has been a month. And here we are, 8 years. I never had to do that. And all of a sudden, this changes. Okay? This changes.
It's in the law.
But it's not. That's not legal for it to take me out the financial process. That's the purpose of our job.
The
I
main-
want you to know the job description of all the person.
And the main thing that we want you to know, and the public as well, is that we want you to be in here if we are told it is allowed, it will be allowed. The object of this is not to exclude you, but once we find out differently than our city attorney has been told, then we'll do that if it is different.
But I'm
There's
not gonna
no-
argue
there's
with
no
anyone. I
buts.
just want to,
Yes.
there is buts,
Move on.
because it's just an
For now,
opinion.
we're
And it's
doing
how it was
what
written.
the Attorney General
That
told
is.
us. So
And
until
you will
we,
have this, and it will be here the next few days. And
Madam Clerk, I
again,
move-
I,
it's silence your voice.
excuse
We
me, all
cannot-
right, let's
we need
move
to
on
recess.
to the next thing.
One last
Come up with
item.
all the negative things to do that you're gonna exercise on.
Y'all, please, let's have order. I've asked for the city clerk to move on to the next thing if there's anything.
My final item is a request for adoption of the new city employee handbook to be effective immediately. This was brought up at the last meeting. You all wanted the city attorney to review it and come back with any comments that he had, or reassure you all that he approves of that. He and I have spoken. We'll let him make his comments, and hopefully we can get this taken care of.
And I did, before you start, I did want to say that the couple of things that were mentioned, y'all looked and made sure they were all
Right,
included.
so
and
of
addressed.
everything that was mentioned, it was either already addressed in the handbook. Alderman Frazier, your specific request had to do with civil service. We did add one final sentence to the civil service employee section that said to please refer to the civil service rules and regulation for further direction, which I have provided you all a copy of just for your review and to have on hand. If you all want to look at that. And Alderwoman Irving, your question about attendance reporting, we did add a sentence to that section to clarify that department directors are to report directly to the mayor's office. Other than that, no additional changes were made to the last draft that you all were given. Everything else had been identified that it was already covered.
So moved.
Okay, and so let me just get clarity on this. So we're not hiring family members either anymore. Is that what we said in that? Because that's the way that read. And
So
I guess that's an attorney question.
And again, those were questions that were brought up with Nick, who is the labor and employment specialist attorney with Phelps Dunbar. And he did verify that the wording in there covers what the state statute and state nepotism laws
So that's
provide.
legal for us to not decide to hire
May I make a
someone because they're
motion?
family.
So wait, I do want to, Ms. McKenzie also said that if the city attorney had anything to say first, let's go ahead and if you needed to add anything or if she covered it, you don't have to.
She covered it, but the city clerk provided me with a copy of the new revisions and changes to the city handbook, and I find no problem with it. But let me say this, the attorneys at Phelps Dunbar, I would defer to them. Those attorneys are trained, skilled, and experienced in matters of labor law, and they are the experts, and they've passed approval on it, and I accept that. I think it's perfectly fine the way it's been rewritten, and the changes are good.
Well, and I do want to commend you because you have gotten a lot of guidance from them and you have worked hard on it and they have been a great help to it and their approval. They are the experts and this is their area. So I appreciate that. So we'll ask for a motion for approval of the
So
new
moved.
personnel handbook. All right, we've got a first, we have a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes,
Mr. Frazier.
I understand about the lawyer doing this handbook, but I have a lot of reservations about a lot of stuff in here. Being as though we are a small town, and some of this stuff in here refers to people of much larger municipalities and stuff. And like I say, the civil service part, I don't think they went into enough details. I read it, and I got the civil service rule book here too, and I'm glad I got that too. But it's just me, and I can't speak for no one else. I'm not too enthused about this. Some of these changes in the rule book. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other discussion? Call for the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed to the motion?
Nay.
All right, we have one nay, and the city clerk will note the nay
Nay.
of Alderman Frazier. Oh, now we have two nays. All right, and Alderwoman Irving. And anyway, all right, so the motion.
We have a
let's-
2-2.
Oh, 2-2. Oh, I'll break the tie as an aye for that motion.
Let's move on.
All right, I was making sure the city clerk has everything and to see if she had any other report. I don't see anything else,
No,
and that
that's
is
the end
it.
of my report.
So we will move to the city attorney's report.
No report.
All right, thank you, Mr. City Attorney. And so we will go on to me, and I think y'all covered everything about the balloon races, but I do want to say again, as always, the volunteers in this town never cease to amaze me. There were so many people out there volunteering, and that is a well-oiled machine. It's so much work that goes into it, and it's a great thing for Natchez. And I have to say that Mr. James Big Lane, the Friday night balloon glow was named after him, and that was quite an honor. And he actually flew the first balloon and at the first balloon race. And the mayor gave him a key to the city, and he also won the Spirit of this Steckler Award, which is about volunteers for how hard volunteers work. And he is definitely one of those that was honored that night. So I appreciate that. I did want to just mention a couple of other things that are coming up. The NAMI is having their mental health awareness walk. They're having a yoga at 8 and a walk at 9, and that's October 26th, Saturday. And then I know we have Angels on the Bluff coming up and the Chili Cook-Off. I think they're both November 9th. And well, the Angels on the Bluff is Friday night as well. So anyway, we've got more great events coming up to, as Alderman Frazier said, get those sales tax revenue up, hopefully, which helps us be able to do more for the city. So these are all good things. And as far as I know, there were not any major incidents during the whole balloon races. And I think we're fortunate to live in a place where we, for the most part, have very, people that are law and order abiding citizens. So, and not always, but for the most part we do. And the people that visited were very respectful of our town as well. So we appreciate the visitors and hope that they come back. Do we have any executive session?
None that I know of, Mayor Pro Tem.
None that I know of as well. So I will call for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So
Any discussion on that? And I can't imagine there would be. And I thank you all for being here and have a great evening.